bring to you the man whose voice that you hear in the American Airlines Center, the man who was our third guest ever. It is Dallas Mavericks public address announcer, Sean Heath. Good morning, sir.
What's up, boys? Kevin, you just fell into the Texas accent, towel.
Yeah.
You knew that was going to happen.
And I feel like usually that doesn't come up a lot, but
it doesn't. Well, you don't have a really strong accent.
You will hear it.
I want to, can we do some housekeeping? I want to go ahead and take this segment off the rails from the beginning.
Let's do it.
Number one, was talking to Mike during the break, and he said that, hopefully things are good for his son's thumb, so
yes.
Good thoughts for that. Kevin, it's nice to see you. And Corey, I loved you in Goonies.
Oh, thank you
great.
very much. I appreciate that.
Or Lost Boys, too. Just spectacular work. But I do have a bone to pick with one Mr. Robert Julia. I don't know what his name is. Chopping, whatever it is.
Ralph James.
Yeah, sure. Close enough. It's been 15 years, and his impersonation of me has not improved at all. If anything, it's gotten worse. And I feel a little disrespected. I don't think he's really putting in the work to really fine-tune it. I don't insult his inability to cook meat properly or the fact that he mows a yard like Fred Flintstone. I don't say those things. And yet, I'm just saying, put in some effort, man. I do things. He knows I do things other than just yell, right?
No, he has no clue.
Or should I just do the rest of the show like this?
That's actually what he thinks is your life.
That's what he thinks.
He thinks you do that all the time.
Okay.
And that's just the way Chop
Dating
is.
me would really suck if that's how I talked all the
Unless
time.
that was their thing, Unless
We'll have
If you've
two
ever dated Sean
margaritas.
Heath, text in right now. Let us know. But he's been busy with his political impersonations. That's
Sure.
what he's really tried to fine-tune over the last 8 years or so.
I'm a polarizing figure.
Mm-hmm. I remember
Just
there was
a
a time you couldn't come on the show
a little
anymore.
something for the effort. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
All right. What would you like to talk to me about? I find it amazing that I'm interesting now that I wasn't interesting 2 months ago. What about me is interesting now?
Wow.
Have I missed something? Oh, I want to say this. The temperature in the studio, very nice. I know you were having issues last week. Yeah. I almost wore a Speedo today, but I did not. You're welcome.
Do you have a Speedo?
I do, sadly.
Mm.
It was a gag Christmas gift. And by gag, I mean it was bad.
Yeah.
I don't have a Speedo. I've never had one.
So that's how you derail. Kids, take notes. That's how you derail a segment.
We do it all the time to Kevin. So I'm glad you just jumped in on this.
You know what?
Nice,
I want to be part of it. Just happy to be part of the team, Corey.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hey, why have you been here 2 months ago? There's your answer right there.
You are a fan of the Mavericks just as much as you are employee of the Mavericks. More so.
Yeah.
And that you get to sit in the best seat in the house.
Dream job. Best seat.
You are sitting, all the information's coming across your forehead the entire time too.
It's changed the way that I watch NBA basketball for the better.
Okay. All right. And yeah, you're hearing coaches, you're hearing all this stuff go on.
Oh, trash talk is so sweet.
Knowing this team and what it's developed into since the trade and since it's grown into what it is right now, what did you see in the first two games that you were like, that's not what I'm used to seeing?
I don't know what that team was. The team we saw in games 1 and 2 in the finals is not the team that we saw the last month of the season or at any point during the playoffs. Even the blowout games in game 1 against the Clippers and game 1 against Oklahoma City, they didn't look that bad. They looked absolutely just unprepared in games 1 and 2. But the crazy thing is, I think Boston gave the Mavs their best shot in game 1. They went 7 of 15 from 3 in the first quarter. They absolutely obliterated the Mavs, and it was still an 8-point game in the fourth quarter at one point. In game 2, Boston tried to give that game away, and the Mavericks gave it back to them with 15 turnovers that the Celtics turned into 21 points and 8 missed free throws. That's 29-point swing. If you make your free throws and you're not, and here's the thing, of the 26 turnovers that Dallas has committed, 16 of those were steals.
Which usually get converted to points on the other side.
And their conversion rate on steals is 2.4 points per turnover. That's what Boston is converting. So they're turning those steals into either 2 dunks or made threes. It's impossible. You can't give another team 29 points to play with like that.
Not at all.
I put together, Kevin knows I love numbers, I love stats. And so I put together all kinds of stuff about the finals and 60-win teams and history and recency bias and blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is make your free throws, stop being careless with the ball, and Kyrie plays anywhere near like he did during the regular season, and the Mavs could be up 2-0 right now. So I feel pretty good about tonight. I heard some comments. I do think that the Mavericks that we see tonight is going to be Mavericks we're used to seeing. And if, in fact, Porzingis' injury is as bad as half of the organization in Boston thinks it is, and he doesn't play, then we get a much bigger diet of Al Horford. I'm okay with that. And Cornette.
Yep.
Like, fine, bring those guys in. As it stands right now with a healthy KP, Boston's a complete team. They have 6 guys that can all defend. They have 6 guys that can all shoot. They're a tough team. I mean, there's a reason they won 64 games. I mean, granted, they did it in the East, but they won 64 games. You can't take that away from them. You got to beat who's in front of you, right?
That's absolutely true. I mean, absolutely true. You get to see also their swagger when they walk up to check in, like their confidence. Do you see the same guys? I felt like PJ, a couple of the guys just kind of looked like wide-eyed, in my opinion, in game 1. Well, and obviously when you're getting blown out.
The fact that I was watching it on TV, I mean, you can see, you see that when they're checking in the midst of the chaos, like they seem a little like, okay, now I'm going to work, as opposed to, oh, it's on. Gotcha. There's a different sort of way that you carry yourselves. But, I mean, the Mavericks, they're a pretty young team, but they're a very consistent team. They haven't had wild swings other than that one stretch of, 6 or 7 games after the All-Star break when they had that losing streak. But after that, they snapped in. Something clicked. I don't know if it was part of it was the lineup change, but part of it is something Kidd said, something Kyrie said, something Lucas said, like something happened in that locker room that changed the mindset of that team and changed the personality of that team. I don't think anybody in the Mavs locker room is panicking they're down 2-0. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
Because as I looked at it, I checked officially, you have to win 4 games.
That's still the case.
Yeah, it's still, that hadn't changed, I'm pretty sure.
Are we sure?
We're not doing a run rule. Oh, you've won 2 games out of 7 and it's over. By the way, I support Mike's thought of run rule in Major League Baseball. I think that's a great idea.
Well, I was looking at, Sean, thank you for supporting that. I was looking at the first quarter, and here's what surprised me in game 2. The Mavericks are 6 of 10 from the field with 0 turnovers, up 13-6. Timeout by the Boston Celtics. Almost we get to close to the 3-minute mark. So that timeout, I'm trying to see when it was called, but it was early in the game. Timeout, 13-6. The next 11 possessions for the Mavs. The Mavs go 1 of 7 from the field with 4 turnovers and Luka's 0 of 2 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
That's not just Kristaps Porzingis entering the game. Like, that's the tough thing about the Mavs, and you say they weren't the team, is I'm not expecting them to shoot 60% from the field and make all of their shots and shoot 60% for the game. I get that probably won't happen. I hope it does. But to go 6 of 10, timeout, and then go 1 of 7 with 4 turnovers and go 0 of 2 from the free throw line, and the 0 of 2 was Luka going 0 of 2, that got them, and they still weren't even winning the game. Boston wasn't winning the game, but then you went right back to like game 1.
Yeah, it was, the thing about Boston, to their credit, is Dallas hasn't been able to force them out of what they want to do defensively. But you're going to make Boston switch, okay, they'll switch, but you're not going to get them into the drop, pick, and roll. You're just not. They're not going to do that. They're not going to surrender that. They are incredibly stubborn. They are, those 5 guys on defense, man, they're on a string. You know what? They are defensively like the Mavs were in 2011. Everybody knows exactly where to be, when to be. There's no wiggle room. There's no missed assignments. They're just focused and dialed in. Now, you can beat a team like that, but man, your passes have to be pinpoint. You have to be able to whip it around the perimeter. You have to be able to get past your initial defender to try and force the defense to collapse a little bit so you get somebody open. They just won't sag off of shooters. They just won't. They're incredibly disciplined.
I know you're not doing the road games, but can you tell, since you are right next to the court, can you tell energy level from role players in the playoffs? I know you're having to look at it from the visiting team standpoint because the Mavs role players obviously struggled in Boston, but you're not on the court in Boston. Can you
But
tell?
you can see the bench.
Yeah.
You can see shots of the bench and like, oh, wow, that guy's not normally like that. Or, oh, he looks really reserved. They looked a little shell-shocked.
Like, I love Cason Wallace, for example. I think he's going to be a great player from Richardson. He had a great playoff series, but at the end there, you could see the inexperience take over his kind of body and his mentality. Do you think that Boston in any way, shape, or form that we're going to see nerves from their guys tonight on the road? I mean, if Pritchard's going to be banking in 3-pointers from midcourt and then big dogging it back to the bench like he meant to do that. I have a theory. I've never really said this out loud before, but I have a theory. Much like in the NBA, there is a real and true rookie wall. It exists. It happens. It's a physical fact. I think there can be a playoff wall. I think that if you have played in the NCAA tournament, you've played 2 or 3 high-pressure games in a small period, but you haven't played 16 pressure games over a month. And it's a different animal, and the finals is a completely different animal than any other round of the playoffs. It's not even it's almost not the same game. It's almost like, okay, if you were to break the NBA down into G League, Division I, and then we get to the finals, that's the pro level of the playoffs. It almost feels like that. And I think there's a possibility of a player who has never been in that type of ridiculous hype situation that you're able to block it out for a certain point, but at some point it just becomes so exhausting to maintain that focus that's necessary to be successful at that level, at finals level of performance, even if you're not in the game. There is a level of attention, a level of detail that you have to be able to focus. Even if you're the 15th guy on the bench, you still have a role. Whether towel waving, whatever your role is, you all have a role. And I think you can get fatigue at some point. Normally, you would think it would take a more extended period of time for that fatigue to set in. But if you have that situation in Boston with that crowd and that building and those results, I mean, if it doesn't affect you, you're not human. So I do agree that I think the role players can be overwhelmed. However, I think depending on the maturity, for example, Derek Lively will not play like he's lost. He won't. That kid is too strong mentally. He's been through way more than most of us in our lives. And I'm in my 50s. You're all in your 30s. You're welcome. Okay, late 30s. But he's not going to continue to be shell. He's not. He looked at what happened. He's like, okay. And he's going to shrug it off. He's going to come back tonight, and I think he's going to be the Lively that we saw. And I think every player has that. I expect big games from Kyrie. He's averaging 14 points. What was it? He's averaging 14 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. His season averages were 25, 5, and 5.
Wow.
He's not going to continue to shoot half of his average. He's just not. Boston's good, but they're not a brick wall. They have weaknesses. There are doors that are open. There are windows that the Mavs can get through. They've got to have the will to force Boston to change the way they defend.
If you don't like them, I'm going to blame Corey. We might have some suggested phrases or chants that we can get going. Do you want to go with game breakdown or go right to the chants?
You're saying no.
I just said, because you were going to talk.
Yeah.
No? I mean, Kevin, if maybe you'd have more success if Kevin were the one.
No, that's not the way that it works on this show.
That feels unlikely.
I have 2 options of things
that you want me to say on the microphone in front of people.
Yeah, so you can either...
There are options.
You can go with the ones that I think you can do.
Okay.
Or you can go with the ones that I don't think you should do.
Can they be do they have to be during live play?
Yeah, sure.
Or they could be during timeouts where I could sneak them in during a read or something.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That sounds good. Because I know back in the day you said that the league only allowed you to say certain things.
That hasn't changed.
And that hasn't changed. So I do have some suggestions.
Okay.
Do you want
hit me?
Do you want the ones you can do or the ones that you shouldn't do?
Which are the ones that Kevin does not want to hear?
Probably most of them.
Yeah, here I'll give you the easy ones. All right, these are the easy ones. You take those. Here's what I'll do. You do one. I'll do the ones you probably shouldn't do and see how it goes.
I like it.
Okay.
So you can just read off the first one or whatever you want.
All right. So protect home court. I say protect this house all the time.
All right.
So that's good.
Do it like Mavs PA guy.
Now,
Yes.
Alec, are you on the volume in there? Okay. Protect home court.
I like that one. All right,
I
here's
don't
mine.
think I was prepared
here's mine,
for that.
Sean. Here's the one that I'll do then.
Okay.
F you, Tatum. What do you think about that? Can you do that one tonight?
You know what? Let me think about that one.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, don't do what I did, and I still regret doing it. When Pritchard did hit that 3 at the end of the third, I was on my couch and stood up and just said, F you, you
I think I
MF.
heard that. I think I heard that. I was up in Little Elm. I think I heard you say
and
that.
I was just like, I shouldn't have said that.
It's like
but-
there's a disturbance in the force. I think Mike just yelled at the screen.
Yeah,
I may have said the exact same thing. We may have said that together.
yeah, it just stinks when
See,
that
so it
happens.
could happen at the game.
I mean, it's okay that he made the shot, but don't walk back to the bench tough mugging like you. Come on, man.
All right. Next one.
I know I can't say this one. This is PJ's stand on business. I will say it for you here, but I cannot say it in the arena. Stand on business.
I like that. That's
I
really
can't-
good.
yeah, I can't do that.
All right. I got one here. Patriots suck. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with the sentiment, but I don't know that it's applicable.
All right.
in that
I
because I
understand.
don't predict that we'll have a lot of mass holes in the arena.
I like that. I like
Can
the
you
whole-
say
because
mass
I
holes?
don't think I think finally that there is a protocol in place to prevent season ticket holders from selling their season tickets to zip
Fascinating.
codes of the opposing team.
That is
I
fascinating.
think that's a limitation that's placed on the website now, if I read it correctly.
Along that line of
Yes,
thinking,
I support that. You should lose your season tickets.
Well, I was going to ask another zip code based question. How do you feel about if you're in a different zip code than maybe the one that you're with? Is that okay?
If you're in a different zip code, are we talking about
Cheating.
A Corey
He's talking
thing
about cheating.
now?
I
I
never-
don't. I hope not
thing,
for Corey.
or-
I don't want to
Okay.
speak to that.
I support the fact that a home team should not allow ticket sales for season ticket holders to sell their tickets during the playoffs to fans of the opposing team.
I like
All right.
it.
I don't want to walk in that building and have it 50% Boston fans.
Yeah,
that's
Jerry.
going to make me
You
mad.
hear that?
It's going to be scary if, just knowing this from the Rangers' perspective, when the Rangers won Game 3 and they went up 2-1 in the series, the Rangers sent a whole plane of their people, and I know the Mavericks would too. If the Mavericks win,
They sent people to Boston,
right.
but it was only like 70.
But I guess if you were up 3-1, which is impossible, if you were up 3-1 in the series, then I'm sure the Mavericks and a lot of their fans that are longtime season ticket holders have the means to do. They would all flood Boston to try to get there to see the game, the championship winning game.
Although the thing in Boston is they are exact with their number of seats that they report, number of seats filled, attendance. It's always the exact, it's like 19,726 or something. It's some exact number. The Mavs sellout number fluctuates. Sometimes it ends with the number 77. Sometimes it ends with the number 11, the number 25. I mean, it changes. But like Boston doesn't do standing room tickets and stuff like that, like Golden State started doing back when, in 16, 17, around then. So I do believe, but I don't know that Boston fans would sell their tickets to an opposing team. I was talking to a coworker at the Mavs. Boston fans absolutely adore their teams to an insane level. I don't think they'd sell tickets to someone from a zip code outside of Boston.
Okay.
You have to beat somebody up
Yeah,
while
I
you're
don't
walking
know.
in.
So the next one you have from here is make your threes.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it that way. I would be like, make your threes.
Okay. Yeah. That's
So
what
it'd
I
be
like.
different,
Or
and the
free
vibe
throws,
would be
you could
weird.
sub in.
I told Corey as a former player, I don't want that. I don't need I don't need Chuck Morgan telling me to throw strikes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to already. I don't need more
Imagine
pressure.
Chuck Morgan telling you to throw strikes.
strikes.
Your attention, please.
John Gray.
Mike Bassick, throw a strike.
All right. Here's my counter to that. We want LA. What about that? Just
I
if
mean, I
things
would
are going
prefer to be
bad,
playing
yeah.
LA right now in the
Yes.
finals. So it's a true statement
right.
and a sentiment, again, not applicable.
I know that as you were driving up here, kind of the news was obviously Jerry West has passed away. I'm
man.
assuming you're going to have a moment of silence.
I would
100%.
bet. I would assume, yeah.
I'm
Mike,
wondering
we'll
how-
get to all that in just a minute, okay? Let me
Well,
finish
you
this
said
real quick.
The beat LA.
We'll get to that
Well,
in just a
and
minute,
here's
Mike.
and because of what Mike just said, I cannot read this next one that you gave me. You said it on the microphone before the break, before your show started in Crosstalk. So I cannot read this one. I can't.
You can't do that. No one's dying.
Cannot do that.
No one's dying.
Cannot do that.
All
one.
right,
You can
here's
see how that would be.
It might
hilarious.
not play well.
Here's one that for tonight, that kind of seems like it would fit. All
Okay.
right. KP and rare injuries are synonymous. It doesn't have that kind
Seems
of
wordy.
cachet.
Seems a little-
It needs a little
Okay,
more
Do you
beat.
want to go
Slow.
KP can't play?
KP can't play.
I mean, if he doesn't play tonight, it'll extend his streak from 20. He hasn't played a game in this city since 2022.
And you don't think that's a coincidence, do you? I'm not saying this time.
I think
but other times.
other times have been.
Yeah.
But this time I don't think so. And I don't wish for anybody I don't officially wish for anybody to get hurt. But I mean, Luka's getting injections for thoracic contusions. I'm not gonna feel sorry for another team if they have injuries.
Yeah.
I like this one.
All right.
Although I'd have to change it. Bring me whiskey.
Yeah, I like that one.
You
That's
had bourbon, but I
yeah.
like whiskey, and then I could get Irish whiskey, which there you go.
There you go. That
bring
would be.
That's very much a Bob Uecker one. I will take that one. I do like this last one. I want to ask Mike before I do this. Does I hate to go back to Choppy, but he's in my head. Does he give you crap
Same.
consistently about Coach Ballsack? Because that was brilliant. Does he still bust you over that, or he talks to you about other stuff? Like he knows you can do other things, right?
Yes. And Coach Ballsack came about. If people don't know this, Coach Ballsack's pretty much dead. But when I went to Toronto to play the Blue Jays, you know, you have to carry, as a rookie, you have to carry the Barbie backpack or whatever with all the candy and treats and everything. And they couldn't pronounce my name. And somehow, somewhere in Toronto, a guy near the bullpen said, "Hey, Ballsack, throw me a lolly," for like a lollipop. And so then the guys thought it was amazing. So then the rest of the year, I was just Ballsack to
I've
those
always
guys.
associated Coach Ballsack with we're playing a game with that rant. I've always, in my mind, that is Coach Ballsack's
Factually
persona.
accurate.
And
That's who Coach Ballsack is to me.
Part of Coach Ballsack then also comes from Harry Spillman, which most people won't remember, but he was like a utility player, catcher in the big leagues with Houston and stuff, and he was my first ever professional manager. And man, I didn't know you could say so many cuss words, but I learned, and I was like, so then a lot of it is just thinking of Harry Spillman yelling at us 18 to 21-year-olds who are not understanding professional baseball
I
yet.
might be able to get away with this last one, Corey. You have one more?
No, well, my other one was from Boston, but you don't really want to do that. Not in.
This one, oh man, I really want to do this one. I don't know that I can do it, but
It's in defense.
as
It's
the defense
sound.
cadence.
Yeah.
Ball sack. I mean,
That feels good.
I'm gonna
try
take
again.
this one.
I wasn't ready with the clapping. I'm ready this time.
Ball sack. Ball sack. You know what?
I like that a
I'm
lot.
going to take this Post-it note with
chants
me
here.
just as a reminder. I'm not saying no.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying
put a pin
no.
in it. You
I'm
know.
not saying no.
Yeah. Just put a pin in it.
I have one for you.
no.
I have
I
one
know what
for
this is
you,
gonna
and
be.
this is from the Rangers beating the Yankees on the Spanish broadcast.
Okay.
From
Because I do speak
Eleno.
Spanish, so I might be able to sneak
So
that one
this
in.
is what
Los
Eleno said
Mavs.
because of Alex Rodriguez and his time with the Rangers. This is the final call of the Rangers going to their first ever World Series.
Alex, on your face.
Alex
On your face.
He meant to say in your face.
I didn't hear it.
Okay.
Oh no.
Wait, can we hear it? Let's see if we
Oh,
can.
maybe I have his.
Alex, on your face.
Oh, dang it. He doesn't have the thing on.
Oh, I'm not up.
One more time for our fans.
Alex, on your face.
So that could be great after a
Ball
dunk.
sack on your face.
Oh
Ball
my
sack
God.
on your face.
I like that.
I don't
What do you
know
know?
if we're allowed to
you're
put those
bailing-
words
Kevin
together.
just bailed right on. No,
I
there
think
was
they're
a
going to call
pause.
Kevin McCarthy if they.
Yeah.
There was a pause.
I love that. I thought that was brilliant. What are you doing?
As a kid, going to Reunion Arena, Kevin McCarthy used to say, like, especially in the fourth quarter, they'd play the shout, and then Kevin McCarthy would say, "Your Dallas Mavericks and their fans."
Yeah.
I know that that's not you. That's something that Kevin McCarthy did. Is there ever a point where there's like something as the Mavericks are coming out of a huddle and the Mavericks are on a run and Boston had to call a timeout? What do you do in those situations to try to get the Maverick fans back into the game after like a 3-minute timeout and the Mavericks have momentum?
Oh, for me, it's always our Dallas Mavericks. I always say our every time. I say several times during a game, you're part of this too.
Yeah.
I give our fans a lot of credit. I mean, I've been hammering them for 15 years. They're pretty dialed in. So if I say, you know, there are several times when the "Let's Go Mavs" beat starts up, and I don't even say it. I don't lead them into it. I just say, you know the rhythm. You guys know what to do. You go, and they do. Like, right? And I've said this several times. I said it the other day. I'm literally the Mavs fan who has a microphone in the building. If I wasn't sitting at the table, I'd be yelling the same stuff up in the 300s, which is the only place I ever saw a Mavs game before I got the job.
Wow.
And so I really feel like I'm trying to get everybody to say what I would say. If I was sitting there, it's funny. So my daughter's first game, she was 7 years old, and it was, you guys, we talked about this before. It was my first season. Game against Utah, we're down 17 in the first half, and Dirk scored 29 points in the fourth quarter. He abused Mehmet Okur. And my daughter, that's the first NBA game she ever saw. In that building was me announcing that game. She is the best Mavs fan in the world. She'll give the stink eye to people in the section because she sits usually in front of the Maniacs. If people aren't cheering and yelling, she'll look at them like, "Why are you even here?"
I love it.
She's the best.
Mike can support that. Yeah,
right.
definitely.
I mean, right. You bought a ticket. You're here. And so there are times when I feel like the most I will, quote unquote, get on to our fans is, you bought a ticket, you're already here, you might as well be rowdy, proud, and loud.
It is amazing how, like, watching Texas A&M the other day play baseball or a college atmosphere.
Texas A&M baseball fans are crazy.
Hell yeah.
I know that, you know, we've tried to, in Section 133, try to get that A&M vibe at a Ranger game.
Oh, man.
And it is crazy to me, and I get it. It cost a whole bunch of money to go to these games. But for people to maybe not really be into the game early on in the fourth quarter. I get it at some point in the second quarter, maybe a little bit, but I'm like, I'm standing at home right now pacing because I'm so nervous in the moment. And I'm just like, it's amazing how some people can still just look at their phone with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
What could possibly be more important and exciting on your phone other than this that is happening in front of you? Yeah. Man,
my biggest moment, Sean, was you were in the room. It was Game 5 in 2011, and I'm up in the press box, and I can't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember which order it was. Jason Kidd or Jason Terry hits the three. The whole room goes silent while the ball's in the air.
Yeah,
over LeBron,
and then it hits. They go insane, and then they start the chant on their own. And then Jason Kidd hits the three, and they were the wave.
Yeah.
They were the wave in the room. They felt the team on its ride, and they became the wave that just collapsed Miami in that moment. And I remember texting you, and you said, this room's perfect.
Yeah, I didn't have to. Here's the thing, and I say this, and people tell me I'm full of it every time I say this. I would love my perfect experience for Mike, for example. Mike goes to a game. My perfect experience for Mike. Or when he comes to see his beloved Chicago Bulls or Spurs.
That is
whatever.
my son's beloved Chicago
whatever.
Bulls.
You allowed that to happen in your house.
Hey, guess what?
I'm just saying.
He also wants to go to the University of Texas. I have failed on numerous levels.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't. Oh, I'm so sorry. We need to get a therapist in here for Kevin. So, anyways, my perfect experience. So let's walk. I'm going to give Mike Bassick the perfect experience.
Okay.
He comes to a game at AAC. The Mavs win. It's a close game, but it's a good game. Mm-hmm. It's good basketball. It's not, 27 turnovers per team. It's good basketball. And the crowd was into it, and everybody had a great time. And Mike leaves, and his voice is hoarse, and he's like, was Sean there?
Yeah.
I think he must have been there, but you don't notice that I'm there.
Yeah.
That's what I want. All you noticed was the energy, and I was part of that, but I wasn't it. I don't want to be it. I want everybody to do this because it is difficult to carry 18,000 people on your shoulders and be excited when the team's down 25 in the fourth quarter. It's hard to do that. I'm going to do it, but it's hard to do it. But that's not fun for the fans. I want people to have fun when they come out. I want them to enjoy it. I want us to win, obviously. And my second goal is I want everybody to have a good time. I don't want that. I don't need the negativity. Oh, we're down 2-0. Who cares? 2 teams in the last 10 years have come down from being down 2-0 to win the series.
Yep.
Here's my theory, Sean.
And one of those teams had a guy named Kyrie Irving on it.
Yep.
If you were to win Game 3 tonight, which obviously the Mavs know they have to do.
Absolutely. It's call it Game 7 because that's what it is. They have to win this game.
This is my optimism here, trying to be. What's the difference between winning Game 1, Game 2, or Game 3? You're gonna be, let's just say you're gonna be down 2-1 because we have all the 86%. If you win the first 2 games, 86% of the time that team wins the NBA Finals. We get it. But if I were to win Game 2 and lose Game 3, I'm still down 2-1. But now the stats don't say. Now we just have to look at the stats that say being down 2-1. So the Mavs just need to win this game. Obviously, you can't go down 3-0. But I'm like, it doesn't really matter what game you win, but there are stats to say.
It does. Well, it matters a little bit. I mean, your premise is correct. I'd tweak it a little bit. If you lose Game 1, you make some adjustments for Game 2, but maybe they weren't perfect adjustments. And the team, so Dallas only lost Game 2 by 9 points, right?
7 points?
7, was it 7? I thought it was 9.
I thought it was 8.
Was it 8?
Oh, crap.
Anyways, we lost by single digits. I blocked it out because it's very painful. And again, as Corey pointed out, bring me bourbon.
Yeah.
There may have been, I'm just saying. So if you lose Game 1, then you make adjustments. That's why Jason Kidd coach teams don't panic after losing Game 1 because it happens. But they always come back in Game 2 having made the proper adjustments. Boston's a different animal. So you made some adjustments, so you closed the gap a little bit from an 18-point defeat in Game 1 to an 8-9 single digits in Game 2. So in Game 3, number one, you're at home. You've slept in your bed. You haven't been in a hotel for 9 days. Like the length between Game 1 and 2, don't get me started on that. But you're home, so it's different. So winning Game 3 at home almost, in my mind, should be expected because you've had 2 games to make the adjustments you can make. Boston doesn't have another gear to go to. Dallas hasn't even gotten into gear in Games 1 and 2. So I think Dallas wins tonight. When you win tonight, then Boston's thinking, oh, man, did they figure out our secret sauce? Maybe we have to make some adjustments, which plays into Dallas's hands. If Boston changes what they do defensively, they're going to lose this series, period. They're just going to. They can't change from what they have done this entire playoffs. Now, granted, Dallas has played 5 50-win teams on the route to the finals, and Boston hasn't played a single 50-win team on route to the finals.
Sean, we're up against it. We got to go to break, but I really appreciate not only the content that you bring to us, but the enthusiasm that you bring to the arena and the fact that you hammered home to everyone. You're just a giant Mavs fan. I love it. I love it. I love it. And thank you for coming up here as well.
Always a pleasure. Let's go Mavs.
There you go.
Let's go
Mavs! Let's go Mavs! Let's go Mavs!